Right, today we're going to talk about seeing God's face in a honeybee. So we're going to start off this message by tasting it. So if you want to open up that honey jar, keep it level, be careful. It's naturally self-preserving, an antibacterial kind of product, so you don't have to worry about sticking your finger in and the person beside you if you're sharing a jar with them, sticking their finger in, but stick your finger in and taste it. Be careful, because it's runny. So sweet, eh? Especially on those certain parts of your tongue. Oh, you got some on your beard there, John. While you're tasting it, you can keep on tasting it. I'm going to read you a couple of paragraphs from a book that detail the provenance of what you're now tasting. Honey. Plug into the energy of daylight. Systems are switched on, light leaves feed on light, sap circulates. As spring spreads to summer, flowers in uncountable quantities open out. Within the plants lie small secret pockets of nectaries, and within these glands swell droplets of sweet liquid. This sugary substance is a symbol of all that is desirable in nature, nectar. The female worker honeybee hovers, lands, and bends into the center of a flower, head down for a feed. She sucks up the nectar, and then she's off to another flower, accelerating so fast your eyes are left behind. She collects the nectar in a transparent, pear-shaped bag called a honey sac that lies in the front of her abdomen as part of the gut. When this sac bulges full, she flies back to her colony. In the dark of the hive, this forager bee passes the nectar on to house bees. The nectar will be passed from bee to bee, becoming progressively more concentrated as it goes. Each bee pushes the nectar into flat drops on the underside of her proboscis, and exposure to the air helps evaporate some of the liquid. A drop will be pumped in and out and passed on to other bees many times, becoming a little less liquid each time. Sucked and pumped, sucked and pumped, sucked and pumped. The nectar is concentrated to 40% of its original moisture level, and then small droplets are deposited onto the floor of a wax comb where the warm air in the hive evaporates it even further. As foraging bees bring back the sweet flow, thousands more beat their wings to create a through draft. The colony is a mass of wings working together to fan off the moisture with warm air. When the liquid has reduced right down and each cell's watery gleam has thickened to a sticky bead, the bees top the full cell with a wax cap. Sealed and stored, honey is now ready until needed, rather as you might keep a pot on a cupboard shelf or in your hand. So where's the queen?
She's in the bottom two boxes, maybe even in this third box. So we can put a fume lid on this one because the top two were quite empty, and hopefully push them down. And then any larva that is in this box, we will put it into another box and remove the honey so that the larva is kept with the bees, because those bees that are hatching are the ones that will survive through winter. And so this is a smaller population hive because it just didn't have enough to produce the honey it needed. This is a very strong hive here. You can see they've created even a wax barrier over top of the whole hive, and that shows that it's quite full. And so we need to scrape that off, and so that the fume board can work. And you can just have a look once you've done scraping it to see how
full that is already.
And so it's quite a large difference from one hive to the next. And again, it's all about population.
So you sort of harvest hives when you know they're full, or do you take them all in?
This time of year we're going to start taking them all down because we're cutting them down and getting them ready for winter. And so when they leave here today, everything will be three boxes high, where they're coming down from 6 down to 3. If there's one that's extremely strong, they may leave it 4, just in hopes that there might be some more honey coming in. But we're gearing down right now.
Huh. So hold on. He's put this lid on. What's happening right now with this hive?
The sun's hitting the lid,
Yeah.
warming it up, activating the fumes, pushing the bees down because it's such a strong smell. They're being repelled by it, and then in a few minutes he'll come back to the first ones that he put the lids on,
Right.
and check to see if there's any bees in it, and then take the box off. If there are a few bees left, he may shake those bees out so that they are removed,
Yeah.
and you don't take them home again. And,
All right, we're getting swarmed.
yeah, they're starting to come around now.
Oh my goodness.
They're coming to your hands now, so you might want to step back a bit.
That is pretty cool. As a child, I was so afraid of bees, like petrified of bees, fearful. Still sometimes, when they catch you off guard, the moment I walked into the beekeeping mill, one came buzzing towards my head, thousands in the mill, and I just go whack, right? And, the last thing you want to do is move quickly with many bees around you. Very afraid as a child. But this month, in studying the honeybee and looking at the honeybee and tasting of the fruit of the honeybee, find a brand new love for this God-given creature in ways I could have never imagined. Walking into this honey mill where they're processing the honey and figuring it's safe, right? So you're not wearing, I figured I was going to wear a white bee suit like I was when we did that, but you're not wearing anything. I was wearing pants, thank goodness. And there are thousands of bees that are still left over on the combs that are flying around in there. They're like huge swarms on the wall, and they're flying and landing on you, and just be cool, they say, and they won't bite you, and they don't. Not honeybees, anyway. I mean, there was one crawling up the back of my shirt. I got it right about here and just slowly swept it out. And photographing bees down by the river over the last month, just sitting down by the Bow River, and see, now I feel like there's a bee on me. The first night getting home, I could hardly sleep. I tell you, you're lying there, you just keep going like this, right? Like there's something on you. There's nothing on you. You're over this fear. Bees are truly amazing animals, insects, divine, a beautiful gift of God. And a couple of months ago, I was more blind to that than I really want to admit, numb to the truth of God's beauty in these insects. I never gave bees a second thought. But then I read a quote in a theological journal. A guy was writing up an article looking at 3 authors who'd written about bees, and very interesting article. And in that article, read this paragraph. The guy wrote, "Consider, for instance, this brute fact." This is written for an American audience. That 16-ounce, 454-gram honey bear in your pantry exists only because tens of thousands of bees flew some 112,000 miles in a relentless, unquestioned pursuit of nectar gathered from 4.5 million flowers, one jar. Every one of those foraging bees was female, and by the time the life of each ended, they all live for 6 weeks during the honey-making season. Each bee had flown about 500 miles in the 20 days that their lifespan, in 20 days, the span each lives outside the hive. So the honey you just tasted came from a honey mill just south of High River that employed somewhere in the range we calculated about 300 million bees. 4,300 hives, averaging 70,000 bees per hive. All of those insects and all of the nectar-producing plants that allow them to do what they do, and all of that sunshine and all of that southern Alberta soil, just so you could now open your mouth and taste, and open your eyes and see how good God is.